Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is your T-shirted historian. We had kind of an interesting week, and it's kind of a sad week, really. So Steve Deinhardt over at Wonderfield Games, it's on every YouTube channel now. It's like all the big tubers have this information, so I'm not really necessarily telling you anything new. Because, Vera Dark has already reported on it. Kyle has already reported on it. Clownfish has. Double D has. And several other places that I was actually surprised would be interested in this have blown this story up. But, Steve Deinhardt from Wonderfield Games kind of lost it this week. And, he posted up a video decrying half of the political base of the United States, and then he kind of went on a few more tirades about race and other things, and and then he just kind of abruptly deleted his account, and I guess the Wonderfield account itself is also had its name changed or something, but it's pretty clear that Steve is having some problems. That's not normal behavior. And just to put it into clarity, okay, I've known Steve for a little while, because if you go back on my channel, you look through my stuff, you'll see that I unboxed his game Giant Lands maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And at the time, I was pretty excited about it because I was one of the guys who pre-ordered it. I was pumped and hyped about it because, he had Larry Elmore covers. The design was straight out of the old, TSR manual. And, he had James Ward on board, the man behind Gamma World. Guy I very much admired. Guy I actually got to play with a game of Giant Lands with because of Steve Deinhardt. Because Steve Deinhardt invited me to play in a small setting game that James Ward ran online. Needless to say that that game didn't go that great just because we got TPK'd. What kind of surprised me was James Ward didn't really use a lot of the Giant Lands mechanics. He just more or less seemed interested in telling a good role-playing story or setting up a good role-playing adventure and not so much worrying about the system. And that's fine, I can still hold my head up and say, hey, I got to play with James Ward. I got killed by James Ward, That one's one off my check mark box, and I was actually planning to have James Ward on the show at some point, but using Steve as my contact. But he passed away, unfortunately, and that opportunity passed me by. I hope Mike Pondsmith, I'll get him someday still. But anyway, but Steve's always been a good guy with me. I've never had any problems with him. In fact, at one point, he told me he was so happy with my support and, never losing faith in him. He sent me an extra copy of Giant Lands. And I still have it, still in shrink wraps, put up, where it's safe. Apparently he did that with a lot of people that he really liked. And he was pretty upset to find out that a lot of those people turned around and took those and resold them on eBay, which I could kind of understand. I was planning to give it away, as part of a channel giveaway, but me and channel giveaways don't seem to work very well. It's like I try to bribe you guys with stuff and nobody bites. So I don't know. Either you guys have really awesome integrity or I give away really shitty gifts. I don't know. But, throughout the years, I've seen Steve post here and there, and we never really had any problems. And the community, even though it never really seemed to 100% embrace Giant Lands, nobody actively hated on it as far as I know. I mean, yeah, the video of the unboxing got some negative comments, but you take the good with the bad. And then for this to happen, all of a sudden, I was kind of as dumbfounded as everybody else out there. I was like, what happened here, man? So I reached out to Steve, kind of behind the scenes, and said, hey, man, this isn't like you. What's going on? Is there something you want to talk about, or because I've always been on your side, man. I've never gone against you on anything, and I've always been grateful for the opportunities and the things that you got me. And I don't want to go and air out all of his personal business, but suffice to say, there were a lot of compounding factors. I mean, it's public knowledge. He was friends with Ernie Gygax. It was public knowledge he was friends with James Ward, and losing both of them hurt him pretty deeply. As it would. I mean, they were his friends, his co-writer in one case. But there were other circumstances kind of behind the scenes that were playing on him. And so he just kind of snapped. Now, I don't excuse what he did. I mean, you got to take responsibility for the things that you do and the things that you say publicly. I mean, and sometimes an apology works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it kind of depends on your audience. I think if Steve had come out and, just said something like, well, I'm sorry. I've, been under this kind of stress and this kind of stuff has been happening. And, I didn't mean to alienate all these people who, supported me and, piss off all of my fan base, whatever fan base I have left. But no, instead he kind of chose to close up shop and kind of go into negative space here. And I'm really hoping he's okay. I'm hoping he's just kind of pulled himself off of social media and maybe he's trying to get his head together and he'll come back and, things will be better. I don't necessarily know if he can repair the damage he's done to his reputation or to regain the trust of the people who he has attacked. But, whatever the case is, like I've said, he's never done me any wrong. He's been a friend to me before, and I really wish him the best. I mean, it's easy to point at somebody when you're angry and, and dogpile and all that sort of thing. And it's happened to me before too, for misunderstandings, for stupid things. But, this is just me kind of saying publicly, I'm not going to be part of that dog pile. I feel bad for Steve. I don't excuse what he did. I don't say what he did was right. I don't say that the people that he offended shouldn't be offended. You should be offended because it was offensive. But at the same time, I'm not going to just, kick the man to the curb. But anyway, that's really all I have to say on the matter. I don't want people dogpiling on him in my panel or whatever else. I mean, they're welcome to do it on their individual channels if they like, air their personal feelings, and they have a right to those. But me, myself, I'm not going to indulge in it because I think deep down, Steve's still kind of a decent person. He just kind of lost his mind a little bit there. And I kind of understand why after he explained it to me. So, but anyway, let's get on with the show, shall we? Hi, Graham.
Hi.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Caster.
Hello.
See, bud. Daniel.
What's up, man?
Hey. And here's our guest today. We have Matt D'Amico from Cranky Clydesdale Publishing. Man, you have been busy. This is, I mean, it's like, what, didn't we just have you on a couple of months ago?
Yeah, you did. And I appreciate it. Thanks for having me back.
No problem, man. So you got another one, huh?
Yeah. The other one didn't go. Full, like we talked about it. We were behind when we started. I kind of rushed that. So I had to take my medicine. I pulled it, kind of regrouped, got with some of my fan base and was like, what would you support? The 150 page book is still out there. We had to regroup, got some good advice from industry people that know. A lot of these guys have been around forever. I've gotten some wonderful mentorship by a lot of industry people, Jen and Zach Glazer, Jim Wampler, Levi Combs, David Beatty. I mean, these guys are all like, will call me up and set me straight. So I had to kind of, reevaluate what was going on. So we pulled that before the end. It's still around. It's still going to come back. But then, it was basically told to me in a very polite manner that people want to have a cup of coffee with me and get to know me a little bit more and not maybe have a big Sunday meeting. So this new one is my cup of coffee offering, and it's a pretty good cup of coffee. I want everybody to take a drink.
Well, let's take a look at it. I've got a couple of super chats I got to do real quick so I can honor my people's contributions. Thank you all very much. Appreciate that. So, Mercurius says, he gives us a super sticker for Australia and $5. Thank you, Mercurius, man. Hey, you help keep this channel going. Honestly, you do. By the way, this is not grifting, but I'm just letting you guys know that August is my birthday. The way YouTube works, you have to have all the money from the previous month in order to get a paycheck before the 21st. So if you want to throw me some birthday money and hey, I wouldn't say no. I'm not grifting, like I said. I'm just letting you know. Then July is the month you need to send in any money. So
my birthday's actually tomorrow.
Dang, dude. I'm not going to ask you how old you are on the air, but
I'll be 55.
Oh, okay. You got a few years on me, a couple. I'll be 52 in August. So happy birthday, man.
Thanks.
All right. Well, okay, Mercurius. Let me see. What have I got for you for your $5 contribution? Yeah, I love this one. This has like been one of my favorites here lately.
Come on, you motherfucker! Oh shit! God damn it! Same shit, different day.
I love that guy. I'm telling you, that is what Daniel sounds like while he's working on a car, like on a head gasket or something.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Pretty damn close. Usually that's what happens when you bang your knuckle and then your socket falls off the wrench and lands like somewhere underneath the headers.
Shit. Oh my gosh.
I sounded like that when I got bucked off an Arab deal. I got bucked off for the first time in like 30 years last week.
Ooh.
And I knew this horse was, I was just my pride. I went up and face first down. I mean, I looked like an idiot. And it's a little 13-hand horse, which looks like a baby horse. I got on the stupid thing, and then I got back off, and then got back on, and she waited to me to get my leg over it and just bucked me up. And I landed face first, and I came up swearing like that. And everybody was like, "What are you doing?"
He doesn't normally sound like that.
I did. I had a big face full of sand, and you just climb back up.
Let's see. We got Hunter Ultra TTRPG. Why are you missing, man? You're supposed to be on this panel for $5. Thank you very much. Says sending my Hunter ruins everything by missing another Saturday stream. Fine payment. Hope everyone is doing well and having a good weekend. Hey, man, we're having a great weekend, and you know what? For you, it's a great win. It's a great weekend, but for us, it's Tuesday.
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
whoever they get to play Bison in the new Street Fighter movie is not going to be able to measure up to Raul Julia.
That cast list makes me frightened, but I guess there's no perfect cast for the Street Fighter movie. There just isn't. They don't make people who are like those characters. They just really don't.
Well,
And Ironcaster himself for $2 says grift harder. Oh,
Yeah, own it. No, you have to own
Caster.
it. Like, come on, guys.
Okay.
We want money. Send t-shirts some money. It's his birthday month coming up, guys.
Yeah.
there
You
you
know
go.
how bad he is with money. So
Yeah, you know how bad I am with money.
Yeah, guys. I got to show him more games to buy. And, like, you guys are really doing a disservice to me by not sending him money.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like, do you realize how much stuff I still have to show him that he needs to buy?
I was gonna save this for Tuesday, Ironcaster. I probably still will, but you know what I just saw that I absolutely want to buy, but I'm like looking at my pocketbook going, oh hell no. There are some brand new Fist of the North Star figures, and they are I think they're like 4-inch sized or 3, and wow, they're like super duper articulated. They look great, but they have to come from Japan, so they're like anywhere from like $30 to $80, and I'm just kind of like like the $116 for like the Rao with the Kokuo.
I thought you just had that set up on like an auto draft thing. Like there's a macro and in your Amazon, and anytime something new that's Fist of the North Star comes up, it just triggers and auto purchases, just shows up at your house.
I mean, I probably should, but then I'd really be broke.
That's me on Game Found and Kickstarter.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Translation: T-shirt needs to buy more little waifu statues.
True.
I mean, those jars aren't going to fill themselves.
That's
well,
what
I would think Fist of the North Star figures. You just have Ken, and then all the other ones are just little bags of red mush with little plastic eyeballs and stuff in them.
That's actually a great idea.
Ex-henchman.
Right there.
Yeah, ex-henchman.
It's like, hey, this is the after he fought Kenshiro special edition.
Yes.
Which character? Well, they're all the same.
It's kind of like all of them, All right, Ironcaster, let me see what I can get for you. Let me look through here. I gotta find you just the here it is, just for you, Ironcaster.
Come with me to Monkey Land.
It's always Monkey Land.
It's always Monkey Land. Hey, DM Blackwall. Yeah, you got to meet Matt in person a few weeks ago. That's cool, man.
Yes, he did. And I didn't get to play one of his games. I was so disappointed because I was running. You guys, when you run games at the con, I don't know how many games you guys run, but when you run back-to-back games, I would highly advise against it. You are so wiped out, and your brain stops functioning. You're just like, and I really put a lot of effort into my games. And so, yeah, there was a couple games I really wanted to get into, but I was so smoked after I was done. I literally just sat there like a big bowl of jelly. I was like, oh.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you: Is Todd like really like as tall as he says he is in real life?
Todd's a big guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He. I'm a little bit under 6 foot, and he towered over me. So yeah.
Wow.
He's not a small man, but no, super friendly. Very genuine. The whole crew for that whole company is just awesome. I love their stuff. I'm a fan. He kind of said it already. You get kind of addicted to Kickstarter because it's like everybody passes around the same $20. It's like, oh, I got to support him. He supports me. With that one, my wife's like, that really doesn't work out because you don't get all the stuff back that you put out. But like, there's certain people's Kickstarters that go out. You're like, or certain books that go out. You're like, oh, I gotta try that. So I have a stack of stuff at home that I read through, and I want to use Todd's stuff eventually for something I'm writing. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Definitely. You totally should. Blackwall's a really good guy. I like having him on. And his Horde Wars games actually seems really cool.
Yeah, and I got to meet the rest of that crew, and they're equally as good, and I cannot remember their names, and I apologize. I sat next to on the bus on the way home, one of his other guys, and I cannot remember his name, but had a wonderful conversation with him, too, and sorry for not being able to give you a shout-out.
That's all right. Well, shall we take a look at Port Mirror?
Absolutely.
All right. Because of the way this thing is set up, I can't like just open the tab and everything. I gotta actually do the screen mirroring thing, and that's always fun. So let me just boomer right on through this. There we go. So here we are, right up on Kickstarter. So it's a 0-level gauntlet / funnel adventure for Shadow Dark and DCC RPG. And you know what? I really like funnel gauntlet adventures just because it's kind of like it's one of the few times where you can kill player characters and they really can't get mad about it because it's kind of like you got 4 or 5 characters ready to go. You knew it was going to be dangerous, and your character is like a 0 level, so like pretty much they're like, if they stumble on a thumbtack, they die.
Yeah, it's kind of like new writers in the RPG business. Like, so yeah, I'm one of those gauntlet characters. Like, it's not going to take much to kill me. So I was making that joke, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty funny." I'm like, "It's kind of true." But yeah, I introduce when I run the game. For cons, I basically tell people you're gonna die, and don't put it to heart. Your other character will live; he'll come in right behind it. So just have fun with it. So embrace the death.
Well, one thing I noticed about this already, it says it's a DCC 0-level funnel, but it's also a Shadow Dark RPG gauntlet, and I'm curious. So obviously, you've probably had to work with DCC, and then you had to work with Shadow Dark in order to get this made. So, just out of curiosity, which system do you like better?
I tell you what, years ago I would say DCC was what I liked better. But the more I've run Shadow Dark, it's intuitive, and I'm not blowing smoke. I am a RPG junkie. They both have their pluses and minuses in the system. For long term, I think DCC is more. Your character is going to be able to develop more. But as I've played Shadow Dark more and more and gotten into writing for it, there's a lot there. And Kelsey and her group, the Arcane Library, do a really good job. And with these new supplements that are coming out, it's starting to catch up. So my heart's with DCC, but Arcane Library, don't judge me. I'm still new. But it's growing on me a lot. The first time I played it, I was like, "Wow, this is really good." And I've ran into Ramsey Williams. I played in one of his games in Long Con, and he ran a Tom Wilson adventure, and that's where I really got the idea that I really wanted to do a dual stat book instead of trying to split it up. And I thought about it there, and then there's similarities in the two systems. You have to look for it, but they both run real well. So. Is that a politically correct enough answer? I said DCC, but it's not a real. It's by a nose right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see that you're like a little less than 700 away from your goal, so that's great.
Yep, we've had good support. Yep, keep hitting the watch button, or go ahead and sign up. I promise you won't be disappointed. It's definitely gone a lot. It's gone a lot better than the last one. We've gotten the word out. Some other people have stepped up. Friends of mine have, the RPG community is very nice. And I know that's kind of a lame way of saying it, but they are. They're very nice. They're very giving. They support you. They're good people. We're a bunch of people that really, go all out for the hobby. So.
Well, as always, if I get invested in it, it's I'm going to want a print copy, and PDF and print for $15 is actually really good. Who are you printing through?
We're doing print on demand, so there's a little bit of print cost in there. I think it was about $4, but not too bad. So it brings you up. You're still under 20. Getting to your, and depending on where you live, I know, you're central, so it shouldn't be too bad. So yeah, we're still doing drive-through RPG. I know Lulu is starting to get real competitive, but right now, still staying with drive-through. Had good service with Massacre Grounds for them. Didn't get any complaints about people getting their books. Books are packaged nice, so you shouldn't get to you too dinged up. And then drive through, believe it or not, if you let them know your book got chewed up in the mail, they're usually pretty good about replacing it. I don't have anything to do with that, but they've been pretty decent about it. So I like that too. Because who wants a chewed up, folded end copy? You know, I realize my book's not going to be worth millions in years, but I still like my stuff looking good when I get it. So
yeah, every time
shout out to them.
Every time I've gotten something from Drive Through RPG, it's always come in a nice cardboard box, so it doesn't ding up the edges and everything like that. And this is a minor complaint. I was actually kind of curious, Grim, if the same thing happened to you. But when I got my Sentience book, it came in like a yellow mailer envelope. And, of course, one of my edges got crushed. How about you?
Mine was in a white bubble wrap envelope inside a cardboard sleeve.
Oh, see, I didn't even have a cardboard sleeve.
So were you right? They were like, we're going to
I guess. I guess these different fulfillment companies from different places.
Yeah. If I'd have had a cardboard insert, mine probably wouldn't have gotten a ding, but still, that was a nice book, I have to admit. But this is pretty cool, too, the fact that you can back this and you can catch up on all the other cranky Clydesdale publishing stuff.
Yeah, so can I talk about that real quick?
Do it.
So we've got the Massacre Grounds, which I will immediately tell you there is the Demons Reawakened is the sequel to it. It will be out shortly. There was obviously I had a little delay in getting Cult of the Winged Skull out, and then this was this Port Mirror is a great book. So it kind of jumped in front of the line. I wanted to get this setting going, but that's coming. Massacre Grounds, there's 2 copies available, and this is the question I get most, is the commentary version is when I tell all my crazy stories. It's kind of, it's been rated adult content. Now, when I say that, everybody gets, oh, yeah, cool, there's naked girls and there's all this sex, and yeah, that's not. It's basically a bunch of cowboy stories. Yeah, boo, hiss. But it's a bunch of the stories growing up, stories around the campfire, about the characters that are in it. A lot of the characters are old cowboys that I grew up with or people I were friends with. So it's kind of the stories behind the stories. And then I tell some of the real stories about, obviously we didn't have a chupacabras in a cave. We didn't have, all these zombies and everything else. But I tell kind of the stories about these areas and what the true stories are. There's no skeletons coming back to life, but the Massacre Grounds is actually a real place where some Native American Pima Indians were slaughtered. So I tell the real story about that. And I don't pull any punches. I tell the historical accurate what happened. And so some people like history, some people don't. If you like all that stuff and you want to hear the story behind the story, some of it's fun, some of it's funny, some of it's very serious. I always tell people, you read it tongue in cheek. I have a lot of fun with it, but that's the main difference. The game content doesn't change. If you want to get to know me more and you want to get to know, like, why is Romeo's house in, is there a restaurant there? Because I spend a lot of time on this little restaurant, and like, why? But then you get to know Romeo a little bit. You get to know all these crazy cowboy guys. So it's kind of a fun way of looking at it. For the extra $5, I think it's worth it. I'm not sure if people, we hadn't had too many orders on it because people just don't understand what a commentary version is. And then, so that's what that is.
Okay. Well, this is cool. Let me grab this so I can post it up for you. And there we go. So if you guys are interested in it, yeah, go check out Clydesdale Massacre on Kickstarter, or go check out Port Mirror, and you can get a link straight to it. The price point, I think, is actually pretty nice, all things considered. And everybody always seems to like low-level adventures pretty well. I mean, it's the kind of stuff that's fun when you're bored or something, or you're missing a player, but you've got enough people there to game with. It's always like, well, why don't we just roll up some 0 levels or some first levels and just go do a funnel or something.
Well, it's a great way to teach people the game, but I also will tell you it's been play tested enough where you can play that with 6 first level characters and it will be a challenging adventure. We play tested it. Originally it was designed, we were going to have a 1, it was going to be a 0 and a 1. So you're actually going to get your level in between. But story wise, for RPGs, I have a problem with that because I'm not telling a story. You're telling the story. I'm just writing an outline of the story. But originally, we were going to try to get you to first level, so you would literally carouse and then for Shadow Dark, and then go to first level. But you're in this burnt out shell of a town that pretty much got sacked. It was like, how are you going to carouse? And so it didn't really work. So we pulled back and made it one big 0 level with a lot of side little stuff, like especially once you get down in the mines. And if you're a guy that plays and likes to do one, or a gal that likes to play and do one more room, this adventure is for you. Because if you stay in the middle and just grab the townsfolk and do what you're assigned, yeah, you can completely complete everything. But if you go for one more room, when you get down in the mine, you're going to run into a big hair turtle, which is the turtle that's pictured in the Kickstarter. If you defeat him, good for you. Nobody has gone after him yet because they see him and they're like, we're out. And then you could run into a brain-sucking monster if you decide to just go one more room after you free the townsfolk down in the mine. So there's a lot of stuff built in there. So if you really hate zeros, you can play it as a level 1 with no problem. We tested it that way. I know some guys are just like, I get bored with 0 levels. I'm like, I don't know. I love it. I love it because of the campy nature of it. People just don't care, so they just tend to do crazy stuff. And we had what is her, Riley? I think her name is Riley at North Texas. She's like, I'm going to set my 1-0 level on fire. What do I have to roll for that?
Jeez.
And I'm like, what? And this is very demure, very polite lady. She looks like she's probably a school teacher. I think she is. So yeah, I'm going to set my one guy on fire. Like, how would I roll? What would I roll for that? I'm like, all right, well, he's not going to let you set him on fire. And literally I had to come up on the fly like, okay, you're going to roll an attack and he's going to roll a saving throw. It was just like, all right. But yeah, that's her. And then she was going to send the on fire character into the group of cultists to screw up their spell. I was like, that's freaking awesome. I'm like, and I'm literally like, I told her what she had to roll, and I'm like thinking, I'll make it as low as possible because I really want to see this happen. But yeah, I mean, so that's, you have to embrace the suck of it being a 0 level, but it also will play the other way. And it's a great introduction to Whiffmail. Whiffmail did not go away. Cult of the Mirrored Skull was a big part of the setting for that. The setting is still here. I give you the 21 God Pantheon. You're going to, get a taste of it. So enjoy, that, or you can drop it into your ongoing adventures.
So I remember you showed us that last time. That's pretty cool.
So I mean, it's a little taste of everything, and it's a lot of fun. And then we've ran it. I did a lot of testing on this. So it's just, if you don't like zeros, play it as a 1. You'll have a good time. And then go for one more room. I want to see, and tell me how you take out the turtle, because the turtle's nasty. He has he's part Mr. Fantastic. He's a turtle, but he has stretchy arms and head. So he comes out right after you. He has a reach of unbelievable, and he's huge.
I remember. I don't know if you're familiar with Lamentations of the Flame Princess, but my favorite adventure that they made is the God That Crawls, and it's like a first level adventure that's a chase because you're stuck in a labyrinth with this amorphous monster that can regenerate from anything. I mean, you can bring it to 0 hit points and stop it, momentarily, but it'll come back and it'll keep coming for you, and it never stops.
It's like a water rune.
Yeah, basically, it's basically it's more. It's actually kind of like a little bit more like a gelatinous cube, but this thing it'll chase you all over this labyrinth slowly. And Raji was telling me that was telling people that he had a party who managed to kill it. So I asked him one day, how they managed to do it, and he gave me the secret. I don't want to give it away in case he ever wants to tell that story. Yeah. But I told him how our party managed to kill it, which is pretty funny because there are caches of secret scrolls and things located throughout the labyrinth if you find them. And the scrolls are random, so you don't know what's on them. And because of the way Lamentations is set up, you can cast a spell at any level.
Right.
So, as my party's running through the labyrinth trying to escape this thing, he found one of my mages found a scroll of I think it was a magic jar, and so they magic jarred this thing. And then just kind of just quietly tucked it away somewhere where nobody could bother it.
Don't break the jar. Just leave it here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just don't play with
don't
this.
Touch that.
Yeah.
Don't touch that.
But anyway, our panelists, guys, you got any questions for Matt? I've got a phone ringing, so you guys ask.
I am ill prepared for this.
Yeah, definitely not up my alley, seeing as how, while I'm familiar with both games, neither one is really in my wheelhouse.
What do you normally play?
Definitely not my wheelhouse. I'm very much a Hickman Revolution narrative gamer, not an OSR guy.
Okay.
I'm OSR, but I stick mainly with OSE. And,
yeah, originally this was written because of some budgetary things. The three that it was written in was Shadowdark, OSE, and DCC. So the OSE version I still have. It was hard to do three. I could do two in a book with no problem. Three in a book. I grew up, in the 80s playing, BX. So OSE is the natural, is natural to me. So there is, believe it or not, a OSC version. It's just you won't see it for a while. If it gets popular enough and I get through Kickstarter with it, and then Cult of the Winged Skull would be the next version, and then both would be released for OSC. So I'm a big OSC guy too. So
yeah, it's pretty easy to take the DCC stats and run it in anything sort of basic adjacent anyway, I would think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've GM'd or judged for a while, I mean, you definitely take anything I've written and pretty much drop it in. Drop it into OSE, drop it into same deal. Dragon Slayer would be easier too. I can't think of some of the other OSC clones that people are using, but the
Worlds Without Number.
I'm sorry?
Worlds Without Number.
Yep.
Scarlet Heroes. I had to get Ironcaster to drink.
So
this
isn't there a drinking game that's involved with you mentioning anything without number?
Yes. Anytime I mention a Kevin Crawford game, everybody's obliged to take a drink.
I've been drinking the whole time, so I guess I'm ahead.
And I feel like we should probably append this to also include Fists of the North Star.
Yeah, you probably should.
That's just called alcohol poisoning.
And just catching up.
Hey, there are two great things in life, and that's Kevin Crawford games and Fist of the North Star, okay?
I noticed DM Blackwell is asking how hard is it to convert to other systems, and I would say if you know what you're doing, it's very, very simple. You don't. It's not much to convert the stats over. I mean, the armor classes are going to be very similar. The hit points are very similar. I mean, honestly, the only thing that's really going to be a challenge would just be the magic part of it. So you'll have to convert the spells to what you can, So in DTC, a fear spell is scare, and then I don't think Shadow Dark has a fear spell. So something like that. It'd be fairly simple to do though, because you're gonna know, okay, that's a fear spell, and I'll just convert it. So to answer your question, Todd, it'd be fairly simple to convert it over.
Oh, and I'm almost willing to bet that it's a yes on this question. It says, are there any unique items or stat blocks?
Yeah, there definitely is some unique items in there, but I don't think that I hate to say everything's unique because everything's been done. He mentioned Tracy Hickman. everything's been done to some extent, but I don't think there's anything that's going to be over the top. Like you walk into the mage's shop and there's a crystal statue there, and everybody's gawking at it because the shop, instead of being ransacked, is just cleared out, and it's very neat and orderly, but everything is just gone. And when you walk in, you're looking at this beautiful statue that's in the middle of the thing, and it comes to life. And so dwarven swords and DCC are a big thing because dwarves they still have the metal. They have to use the mithril, where Shadow Dark doesn't have that. So it's, there's unique stuff on that, but they're not so much that you're going to be like, okay, cool. So it's a little bit different. And then I converted some of the monsters so I like them into both. So I don't think there would be anything I'm trying to think of anything like earth shaking that you'd be like, I really don't know what this is. But some of the monsters are complete builds of my own. Like the River Reaver is just Joey Dosel, my artist. He did a great job in the book. I was like, I need something that patrols the river. And I'm like, and he's like, well, what are you looking for? I'm like, well, I don't want a level 0 guy to say, I'm just going to get in a boat and row out of town. And it's funny because I've had people do it. They're like, oh, this is easy. I'll just get in a boat and I'll row out of town and I win. And I'm like, okay. So they get in a boat and they row, and then this big monster, which is also on the Kickstarter page, comes up and will greet you in the boat. So if if you roll perfectly, maybe it won't, but a good chance it will. So some of the monsters are very unique in that they're from me. But I think that's pretty much anybody that writes a adventure is going to have a unique monster in there, but it's not something you couldn't stat.
Yeah, I think for the most part, anything that uses the 6 stat system isn't too difficult to convert to another system one way or the other. I mean, there's some things are easier than others, but it's like, it's like I told Alexander McCree, in order to test out his axe system, I actually grabbed my copy of The Lost City, which is an old basic adventure, BX adventure. And I ran that for the group that was playing the axe characters, and I didn't have too many problems with it at all.
I'm a big fan of that system. He put a lot of time into that. I was introduced to that by Travis Farber. He said, hey, you got to read this. And he goes in depth in that. And I really have enjoyed the in depth, but it is very in depth. It's not like you're going to sit down and play in a few minutes. But yeah, that is a cool system.
It is. Which I guess it leads me to another question. Since you are kind of getting your feet wet with more systems and more styles, you gonna consider picking some up and maybe writing some material for those?
I write stuff that I really enjoy and play, and then when I meet people and I become involved with them, like Mark Hunt, I'm writing a Gangbuster adventure. I met Mark, we've chatted. Gangbusters, because I'm a retired police officer, just seemed like, okay, perfect. I'm from New York, so I was like, this all kind of works hand in hand. I'm not against writing for anybody. I enjoy it, and it's just one of those things. Like, I hate to break news to anybody that thinks they're going to make millions of dollars being a writer.
No,
you're most of the artists, put a lot of time in, and they deserve to get paid for their time. Editors, same deal. Writers, if you really want to put your book out, you end up being the last one on the line that gets paid. And it's a labor of love. You make enough to put out your next book and to pay for the artist, the editor, and whatever else. You learn to do a lot of that yourself. So I have about 8 books that I'm backed up. I like to write. So yeah, I definitely get. So that's Weird Frontiers, DCC, Shadow Dark, OSE, Dragon Slayer, X-Crawl. I know I'm forgetting some, but yes, when I get intrigued by something, I start tinkering, and then I reach out, and then I'm like, hey, how about Hyperborea is another one that I really like. Jeff Twain doesn't allow. I've met Jeff. He's been a great mentor. We went to dinner one night. He gave me some great advice. I love Hyperborea, but he doesn't allow third-party writers. And then I'm trying to think of some other systems. But yeah, there's a lot of cool ones. It's just a matter of I can write till the cows come home, but I have to. It's kind of got to go through a Kickstarter. It's got to go through. Yeah, the thing about it is I don't have to make money, but I can't lose money. So you can't do this to lose money, and everybody thinks you're making money hand over fist. But you got to remember, when you put stuff up on drive-through, they get a cut. Everybody gets their piece, and then when you get what's left. And it's not that I'm thinking I'm going to pay my mortgage with this, but it becomes you got to kind of pick and choose. Like I was telling these guys when you're off, it's like there is an OSE version of Port Mirror. There's an OSE version of Cult of the Winged Skull. Whether it'll see the light of day, I don't know. If you guys want it on the side, get with me. I'll be like, yeah, here it is. I might have it. It's just a matter of, can I publish it and make money off of it? Because that's a third book. So it's tough because everybody's like, oh, well, couldn't you just add it in there? Well, how would you, like two, I think I did in this book, Shadow Dark and DCC well being dual statted. You would not want a 3-statted book. It would be a mess because you have to allow for each book. So it would like each, room 10 would be like, a page, because you'd have to like, okay, in Shadow Dark, you run it this way. In DCC, you run it this way. In OSC, you run it this way. It would be really hard to get through. So I asked, trust me, I'm crazy enough to do it. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's another one that I'm really intrigued at, the new white box set that's coming out. I don't know if it's going to be any good. My friend Wrote is coming out with, hopefully his book will be out soon. He did a Kickstarter last year. We've become friends. I played in the test play of it. Travis Farber is another one. He's got his own system coming out that is a mix of just about everything that I really like. But yeah, I'm a big junkie, so it takes about 10 seconds to get me fired up, especially if you come talk to me and are like, you get me all jazzed about your system. I totally do it.
Okay.
I'm a big nerd.
Well, I mean, for our just for fun, I guess, we could probably go around the panel and we could give you some suggestions for games you should try out, maybe. And my first one obviously is easily going to be Scarlet Heroes, because it's very simple, it's very easy to learn, it's very quick to pick up, and it's a lot of fun. And the tables on it are just awesome. And the lore behind it is really, really good. But it's called Scarlet Heroes. It's from Kevin Crawford.
Cool. I'll take a look at it. Keep going. Give me your other ones.
I would say check out my Machinations of the Space Princess, because we're doing like a soft relaunch. We've got a free adventure quick start rules out. We're launching a zine for that. So yeah, I want people to write for it. So anyone who wants to write for it, whether for themselves or for me, let me know.
I love space stuff, so that's definitely on my agenda to write something space. But what I've been told is that I need to calm down and stay in one. Like the Western thing is me. I'm on a horse like most of the week, and people are like, "Why are you wandering away from this?" I'm like, "Because I don't just ride a horse around all the time." And when I grew up playing, you grew up with Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah. But next, keep going. You want to hear about me?
Okay, Das.
Oh, I'm slow to adopt new stuff, so most of my stuff's old stuff. We're doing. I know I'm going through Scott Taylor's Nameless Realms right now.
Oh, see, I hadn't heard of that one.
It's a castle. We started with Rosloff Keep, but my friend, he's really big into it. He fell in love with the world. So, but they're put out there the folio. There's a bunch of adventures and stuff in a book called The Folio.
Mm.
It's like a magazine. It's got like short adventures and stuff, but there's also a whole connected series of stuff, and there's gazetteers for it and stuff. I think the website is Art of the Game. But it's that the Rosloff Keep, your gauntlet adventure reminds me a little bit about it, because the whole point of this Rosloff Keep is there's a sentient dungeon underneath this castle that has all these random rooms, and they've turned it into this contest game show where there's the nobles all sponsor teams to go down and delve, and the whole but the rooms are completely different. Once you have to clear the level before you can go to the next level. But one room might have one time you might go through it and there's like orcs in a room, and next it's trolls or something, slimes, something weird. It doesn't matter. It's just completely random what could be in there.
So is it a roll? Like you roll what's in there, or is it a setup thing?
There's charts that you roll to see what's that's
in the room.
Yeah. So you don't throw something that you don't throw like something really super powerful in the first level dungeons,
No, I have so the add-on in this Kickstarter, if you like that style, I have a gnome airship adventure. And it is basically you roll for your encounters. So it's completely random. You might roll a storm, you might roll getting attacked, you might roll pirates, you might roll there's several different charts that you roll on, and then so it could be air combat or ground combat. So I love that style because it's a completely different adventure every time you play it. So I love that style.
I can guess what Ironcaster's going to say.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. I was away for a couple minutes here. I'm out
okay.
of-
So the question is like, since Matt is experimenting with new systems and possibly going to be writing for a few, what game system would you like to see him do it in? I mean, what's your favorite one? Why would you recommend it to him?
Well, I guess it's ultimately kind of dependent upon like the flavor of the moment. Of course, Old School Essentials is sort of the obvious one, but I do think probably the wise game to look at would ultimately be something like Fabula Ultima. I think
I knew it.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's I think it would be interesting to look at the realm of putting out little third-party adventures for a game like that, which to let you in on it, it's kind of fundamentally drastically different in a lot of ways from what you would come to expect from a lot of the sort of classic throwback RPGs.
True.
And that's one I'm not familiar with, so I can't even comment on it. So I'd have to look it up.
So to just give you the quick 10-cent sell on it, it is an Italian RPG inspired by 90s like PlayStation RPGs.
Okay.
So you get a lot of your, Final Fantasyisms, a lot of those, classic role-playing games.
Cool. No, I'll take a look on that one. You had me as soon as 90s. I'm like, okay, I can look at that.
It's really different. Your characters all start at like 5th level. They are allowed to choose between 3 different classes, and the game actually forces you to pick at least 2 classes to class into. And with all the books that are coming out for it, or that are already out for it, you can kind of build just about any kind of character you can think of if they've ever been in an anime or something. I mean, there's some exceptions do exist, but you can really come up with some neat character designs in that. And so far, we haven't really found any one particular class that just is the meta that you absolutely have to have in order to, be successful at the game.
It's pretty
So
easy to hack as well.
Is it a lot of min-maxing too? Then, so you're building.
No,
your
it actually
character-
it actually isn't. I mean, if you just want to build somebody that's completely 100% totally hardcore geared towards combat, you can absolutely do that. But if you do, you're likely going to miss out on part of the fun of the rest of the game. We have one player at our table who actually, he is a min-maxer, and he did build a combat god, but he also built a conversant god, somebody who could play, and talk to everything and get interested in all kinds of things. And we kind of leveraged him into playing the more social guy, And at first he was real reluctant to, because he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to do anything in combat, but he's actually turned around and he's really been enjoying that character more.
It sounds interesting.
Oddly enough, in a way, with the way it forces you to pick multiple characters, multiple classes, to make your character, it sort of forces you to diversify a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives you kind of a deeper character because you have you're going to have more depth no matter what.
Well, I mean, it's like one of my characters is a cook who makes noodles, but the noodles and stuff that he makes have all magical properties and benefits. So I just throw them at enemies to hurt them or at my friends to heal them. But he's also an unrepentant gambler, so he has a deck of cards that actually cast magic spells depending on what my hand is at the time. It's like a poker hand.
Yeah, that's
it's all very Final Fantasy. You can watch some of the streams of us playing if you're interested on my
I'll have to check
channel.
that out. I usually when I'm sitting doing stuff, I watch different streams and I'll pick one and like especially stuff that I don't know. And when I go to North Texas or Long Con or the cons that I go to, I always try to play in games that like I've never heard of this before. Let me play it.
Oh.
And that's my big thing is I try not to. I mean, obviously there's big people like if one of the big names running a game in that game. You were talking about your friend you wanted to play in this game and he's having a rough time right now. But yeah, for years it's like I want to get in a game where like Jeff Talanian was one of the game like I played in his stuff, but I've never been able to get into his game because it sells out instantly and you can't get into it. But and then I played in Greg has had the honor of killing me several times, Greg Gillespie. But then like Alan Hammock, I was trying to get into one of his games. I think he was running Top Secret. I wanted to get into one of his games. Mo Rasmussen, I wanted to get into one of his games. So there's definitely people. But what I try to do is just say, I've never played this. I'm going to play. I try a new game. So like, believe it or not, it's going to sound like I'm very sheltered. I've never played Aliens. So I got to play Aliens in North Texas. And I actually like that. I thought it was really cool. It's the old D6 base system with a new spin on it. Star Wars D6 base system that basically has a new spin with the alien. And I thought it was cool. So I love, like I said, I'm a big RPG guy. I just love new games. I can really appreciate the thought and the work that goes into all that stuff. Obviously, it's what attracts me to it. So when people kind of disassemble it and then reassemble it in their own way, and it has more rich, deeper flavor. It's not much to get into. And like I said, I played in Kyle's test play. I played in Travis's test play. Both of those hopefully will be out fairly soon. I'm going to give Travis, I know Travis watches the show, Travis Farber. I ran his Full Metal jousting game. And ran that at North Texas for him. So that's coming to Kickstarter. So basically it's a jousting game. And it eventually is going to work into his RPG, or you can dump it into an OSE, or you can dump it into these other IPs and run it. So yeah, and I played it with Travis. We get together and we have a big group of us. And we have a big jousting tournament, and it sounds like either you're going to be super into it or not. But I can guarantee it combines a card game with a role playing game, and it's a lot of fun. It's mono a mono. Everything is PvP. So you really have a good time with it.
Okay, well, Daniel, what you got for him?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of the minimalist when it comes to it. I run games more than anything else, and typically the only time I'm pulling out something new is if I see either something I want to lift out of it to go to a new game, or if it's somehow better for a specific type of game I want to run. But so I guess I would say really what would be three very generalist categories is why not make it wretched and look over at the Red Room? And then what about a classless game? Something along the lines of Call of Cthulhu, where you don't have classes, because I actually prefer skill-based games more than anything else in the world. And I'd say last, the obvious one is to try and run for Castles and Crusades, because I I really think running CNC is probably, when we talk about, hey, ain't nobody getting rich doing this. Castles and Crusades has a lot of goodwill and a lot of strong momentum behind it. So,
yeah, and I would definitely write for Castles and Crusades. That, believe it or not, was on the list. I had, at some point you have to kind of just stop being a fanboy and say, okay, which two have the most likely, which two are similar, which two can I write for? But Castles and Crusade, yeah, for 100%. That's a great game. I would love that. The other one, the Red Room. I love their cowboy stuff. That would definitely be on my list too. Travis also introduced me to that stuff. Yeah, I like all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm a big fan. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We got you some good suggestions there. I mean, a lot of stuff to experiment with.
Yeah, it's and like I said, it's you guys all right. And it's just a matter of, I have a lot of stuff that I will probably never see the light of day, but I'd run it with friends. And then, if it got big enough, then we'd run it. So it's pretty cool though. And like I said, the other thing too is like when you go to a con, I love to walk around their vendor area and pick up new stuff because it's like, what is this? And then I start thinking and that's like when Todd was on your show, I was like, we talked afterwards for quite a while, and I was like, run me through. I think we were even during the show. I was like, run me through your combat system because I'm gonna he just said I'm gonna pluck something I want out of it, and I'm gonna put it in my game. And that's the biggest compliment for me. If you read something of mine and be like, I don't want to play this, but I want that, and I'm gonna stick it in my game. It's like, hey, that's a big compliment. I grew up reading all stuff by all these great authors, and I'm like, yeah, I use all their stuff, or at least all their ideas.
I'll have to get you to meet Chubby Funster someday. You'll love him.
We got to meet him at North Texas. He walked up, and it's funny because he's like, "Are you Cranky Clydesdale?" And I'm like, "You are." He's like, "Chubby Funster," and then we actually gave each other our real names. And we started talking because obviously I don't think I know your real name, and. So we talked for a little bit. I know he got me super excited. He wants to do like a Red Dead Redemption. And
that would be cool.
I'm I'm like, if you need, I'm not a expert, but yeah, I spent a lot of time on horses, and I've spent a lot of time with Old West stuff. So I'm like, yeah, if you need follow up, you have questions, ask me, because I'd be in. So I told him that, No, it's great meeting him. We sat and talked for a little bit in between games. But when you're running games at a con too, you don't really get a lot of talk time until late at night, and then you're fried. You start talking to people, and you're like Monkey Mow Lawn, and you think you're making sense, and people are looking at you like, "What are you saying?" And I'm just like, I'm really tired, and get a couple drinks in me, and I'm just like, okay, it's night time, and it's just running back-to-back games really fried me. But it was really cool to meet. I got to meet him too. So we got to introduce each other. So big fan of his stuff. Obviously he's doing a lot of Shadow Dark stuff too. So I think he's talking about Red Dead for Shadow Dark. So
that would be sweet.
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of sworn off video games, and COVID hit, and I played that Red Dead through and through. I didn't 100% it because I didn't know when you rush through the island adventure that you couldn't go back. So I didn't get any of the animals when I was trying to avoid getting killed. So then I was like, how do you get back to the island? And they're like, there's no way to get back to the island. So I missed, so I can't 100% it. But yeah, that was a great game. So I'm like, if you can make an RPG version of that, I'm in. And that would be on my list of I'm going to write for that. So
that's what New Game Plus is all about. So you can start all over again and try to get all those things you missed. But yeah, I like the Red Dead series. That would be kind of cool. I don't think the Western genre is really well represented in gaming anymore. The last thing that I saw written for it before Wretched decided to pick it up was Sidewinder Reloaded for, I want to say, modern. For D20 modern, and that was a pretty neat little system. But the problem always comes down to well, how come my gun, does the same amount of damage as this guy's sword? If I shoot somebody with a bullet, that just kind of kills them dead, doesn't it? So.
Well,
No,
it's funny.
it
Mark,
actually doesn't.
Mark Hunt and I had this discussion, because people were saying gangbusters, and I actually like his take on it. If you shoot somebody in the leg and you hack somebody with a sword in the leg, which is going to do more damage?
The sword.
The sword, but most likely. I mean, because you're probably going in some meat. There's in a leg, your bullet might do 1d6 damage because it just punches through, or unless it hits a femur.
That's
and then
true.
It's like, so you're like, so he took that and made it just okay. Guns are just weapons, and they have this, which leaves you to like what are the trained marksmen? Okay, you can hit somebody in the head or in the heart, and they're dead. But like, how do you represent that in an RPG game? So it's like, well, that's your critical hits. And then you start rolling on a chart, which is kind of how I got into DCC, where I liked the crit charts. They get really big and really swingy, but it's like, okay, for a crit hit, there should be an imminent death involved because I might chop off this guy's head. But I love David's Weird Frontiers. Obviously, I bought into it instantly after I wrote it. I read it, and then I wrote something for it. I grew up playing Boot Hill. Love that. Shadow West, I'm interested in. I'm not sure how good that's going to be. I backed it. I'm interested. I don't know that. I can't think of his name. But I backed him. I want to see. I want him to do well. I'm interested. I know that David Beatty is. Weird Frontiers is coming out with. Weird Frontiers is going to Shadowdark, and it's going to Morkborg. And Morkborg's another system that none of you mentioned, but it's interesting. It's very simple. It's very, very dark. It's interesting.
I'd probably like it better if I didn't get eye strain every time I opened the book. But
I'm the same way. I had to download the. So they have a copy that you can download with all the graphic in it, and it's just plain white with black lettering, and you just read it. And I had to do that to actually read it, and because I can't do it the other way. It just hurts me. It hurts my kids love it. They think it's like a rock. It's a rock. It's like heavy metal rock, like reading it, but I can't. It just bothers me. But I cut somebody off. I apologize.
I was gonna say I played a lot of Deadlands back in the day.
Deadlands is another good one. It's and then you were talking about the individual stat. A skill game would be ideal for a Western game because you have a lot of cowboys that can do a lot of different things. So it's like, okay, so you might want, that's would be a cool Western genre game because, kind of like Savage Lands, you just want skill-based games. Because it's like, do we need a group of cowboys that are, kind of more like 18 than, your magic user, your cleric, your, the Western version of that. So that would be a cool game. David's bringing Weird Frontiers to both of those IPs. I'm excited for him to do that. So it'll be interesting. Morkborg, I haven't seen. I'm supposed to play, hopefully, in an advanced, like a test game of it. So I'm interested to see how that works. But that was one of the things we talked about. It's like critical hits with a weapon should be scaled to, like, if you have a sword, a critical hit should be a headshot. Or a hard shot.
The only problem is after a while you start getting into arms law, and then it's like then you have like a massive number of critical tables, and it's just kind of like, okay, it's going to take me half an hour to figure out what this crit did to you. So
your crit hit chopped off this guy's arm. Like it's somehow quick, but how did that get quick? I get it. But with especially using firearms, it's like there should be something cool that happens. But yeah, David did a good job with his. I think. And I'm such a nerd. I'm like, I want individual firearms to have their own critical hit tables. So I want a sawed-off shotgun, like a double barrel, to have its own crit table. Like you blow a hole in the guy the size of, a pie plate. I want like something cool. But then you're right. It'd be like a half hour to figure out what you did. So it'd be very crunchy.
It'd be pretty.
Don't give me Rollmaster flashbacks, please.
Rollmaster flashbacks. Yeah. It'd be like, it's kind of like you got shot with a 5.77. There's no real critical hit involved. You just fell over and died. I mean, part of your body's missing at this point, but
yes. So yeah I mean,
because firearms have such a there's such a broad variety of cartridges and everything else that goes into it. I think where the problem there comes in is just like everything, hit points are an abstraction. So is damage. These are all abstractions. And the difference is you really need a different abstraction for firearms versus, a sword. Because swords, the hit points are, your wear and tear and the tingling in your arm because you may have blocked it, but you took that heavy physical blow. It's like, where's the hydrostatic shock and all that stuff that comes with the firearm? And, the other stuff that goes into it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if I actually hit you with a 454 Cthulhu in the chest, it's going to do a whole lot more damage than me, cutting your pectoral muscle with, the edge of a rapier or a saber.
Right.
I did like the way some of the old D20 games did it, where they divided hit points and vitality or something. And so even as you went up in level, it was your vitality that went up, not your hit points so much. And if you took a crit, that was applied directly to your hit points, while the rest kind of represented your luck and your experience and, rolling with the punches and knowing how your armor works and sort of general situational awareness and all of that kind of thing. And that was a fairly neat way to patch that problem.
Modern had a good way of solving it. My players hated it, but D20 Modern's way to solve it was pretty simple. It was kind of like anytime you got hit with enough damage to equal whatever your constitution was, you immediately had to make a constitution save or immediately drop to 0 hit points and go unconscious.
Yeah.
Which is the kind of thing I like. I always like massive damage rules and stuff like that. Firearms or no firearms.
Yeah, and that one was, firearms or no firearms. But the thing is, they hated it because it's like, if they're 8th or 9th level and they're sitting there like, I've got 98 hit points and this one gun does 18 points of damage and puts me down for 0 hit points. I'm like, yeah, that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Hell, play Cyberpunk or anything else on Interlock. We'll change your attitude real quick. It's like, what do you mean my character I've been playing for 4 years just died because he got stuck with a switchblade?
Ironcaster, you look like you've been wanting to say something, man. Go ahead and say it.
Oh, no, I was just say if you're looking for other systems to adapt to, you should probably jump on the bandwagon of Daggerheart.
No, serious.
Well, look, if it's the big new hot thing that has all the kiddies talking out there, then why not take advantage of that and throw something out there? I mean, you're doing the same thing with Shadow Dark, and that was big when it came out, and it's been insanely popular. So why not keep chasing those trends?
I don't think you can hook on to Daggerheart though. Is the problem?
Yeah.
I'm looking over on like DTRPG, and I am seeing people putting out things for it.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to go anywhere. Is what I'm saying, because Daggerheart's selling point is it's tied to Critical Role and it's designed to emulate that, basically pseudo-scripted story system. And it's not designed to be a game; it's designed to produce a show. The problem is that none of us at our tables are producing a show, so. I think there's two problems. One, you don't have longevity. People are going to get it and they're going to play it and they're going to realize that their Daggerheart game looks absolutely nothing like Critical Role's Daggerheart game. And then on top of that, it's not even a good game like their Dungeons and Dragons game.
Yes. However, what I'm saying is he's already got the module ready. You might as well adapt it to whatever the current trend in the market is. And
I get where you're going with that. That's my second point. There is that I think the other issue is that the sales of Daggerheart, I don't think it's going to have the reach to make any kind of secondary module have any real success, and unless it is one that is officially adopted by Darrington Press. Now, if it gets that seal of approval, that if it gets that the kiss of the dawn from Matt Mercer, then you're going to make a crap load of money on your module that nobody ever plays and sits on the shelf. But if you don't get that blessing, I don't see you actually getting anything out of it. You see what I'm saying?
What I did for Whitechester was I included the stats for several systems in the main book, and then I've put out a couple of conversion books, which is mostly just the monsters statted for whatever the other system is, and that can apparently be a reasonably good way of driving people to your primary product and supporting additional game systems without having to do too much work.
100%. I 100% agree with that.
No, you're all wrong. All of you're just wrong. No. The clearly superior system that you must adopt is either, Skullhorn or whatever it is. I don't remember. Or
Skullhorn Edition Neo TTRPG system.
Yes.
Get it right.
Yes, that one.
I have to take notes during this to be like, okay, what? Like, I literally have to write some of this stuff down, or like rewatch it to be like, I gotta write that down and look up what that is.
Or actually, it's Matt Colville's game, which I promise you, it's coming at some time or another.
Yeah.
Yes, but
No.
in the meantime, please buy all these specialty dice because I got this idea.
You've got to convert us to D&D 2024.
Yeah, there you go.
No. You know what?
Yeah, that's right. That's a thing.
I'm gonna. So I wanted to give that a chance, and so I talked to several people about it, and I had no interest in writing for it. I'm going to say that up front. I didn't really like 5e that much, but it became like when I go to the shop, my neighborhood store, they were playing it, so I started playing it. And then originally, when it was real minimal, I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then it got min-maxed, just like every other version of D&D did, and I said, this didn't solve anything. So when 2024 came out, I was just like, all right. So I asked around about it, and I was just like, okay, this is not something I'm interested. It's very watered down. It's very bland. It's just not something good. But I have an 18-year-old son that's going to Emerson College in Boston. He's going to be a writer. He's extremely intelligent, graduated salutatorian. So one of his friends is putting together a new D&D game. And I said, what are you playing? So I said, do me a favor, grab the book. Give me your 18-year-old, opinion on this, because I said I'm tired of us old guys bagging on it and saying it's crap, we don't like it. And I tell you what, I was so super proud of him because he was like, Dad, it's really watered down. He goes, one character kind of is nothing. It's like this blob of everything you pick for it, and it's not like okay, you say you're an orc, but it's like you just pick what you want for it, and then everything, like, there's no flaws unless you decide it has a flaw. And then it was just like, he's like, yeah, it just really doesn't have any oomph to it. I go, yeah, it's bland. It's so pick everything friendly that it's bland because you don't really get any bonuses, but you get no negatives. So it's like when you play OSE, it's like you can move with a dwarf, but you're limited by you can move 20 feet. So that was the big thing about playing a dwarf. You're not going to move around in combat much, but they're a dwarf, so they're super cool, and they've got other things that they do. And then elves, years ago in OSE, you had penalties for playing elves.
Well, it's that current trend of you've got to have permission to do anything to the character. Mm-hmm. So that's why nothing ever bad happens, because it's all you've got to have.
I call it toxic player agency.
Yeah.
Toxic player agency.
Good
player agency is what I call it.
I was very proud of him because at 18 years old, I was just like, hey, give me your opinion. I don't want to hear old gray-haired guy opinion. I don't want to hear Gognard opinion. I want to hear you're young, you're a writer. I want to get your opinion and tell me if it's good. And he was like, the art stinks. It's because it's not, a lot of it is just fake art. It's AI
we've seen it.
He laughs. There's some stuff in there that's pretty funny, like the dwarves having their beard tattoo on each other. That's pretty funny. Like, you agree with that? That's pretty funny. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I have friends all over the rainbow, and I think that is some funny stuff. So that's good art because it made me laugh. But like the other stuff that's AI generated in there is just garbage. But that's my opinion. I wanted to hear his. And so he's like, yeah, the art's kind of plastic. So I was really proud of him because it's like, if you can't die, what fun is it? Like, if it's so watered down, like, what's the challenge of the game? What are we playing? Want to make muffins?
This is my favorite part.
Go ahead. Oh, you're gonna put it up.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Here, I want you guys to see a picture of my family going through the desert
Oh,
with our shining up our tusks and picking
It's
bears.
on so many levels. I mean, it's like if you were going to make something that stupid, could you at least done it well? Like, I mean, did none of their artists ever have a composition class?
I mean, yeah. Not only
None
is
of
it
their
all
shit makes any sense. Like they're
No.
all individual static images that make no sense when they're put together.
Yeah, it's just kind of like draw me 15 orcs, and then we'll find a way to put them all on one page. Oh, and can you make sure that they resemble Mexicans very closely?
This is just cruel. They are asking an awful lot of that rock holding up that big fat one, and and like you have children playing in the shadow of it. This is just cruel.
Yeah, this is the funny thing. This is true. Okay, now that I see those kids playing underneath the rock, I wouldn't. Now it bothers me because I'll confess something to you guys. I've been watching an entire week straight of nothing but caving disaster videos. And seriously, when you hear stories about how these people get stuck or trapped underground or stuff that falls away under them and they die and stuff, it's just kind of like, holy crap! I don't ever want to go under in a cave ever. Why would you do this? Then you got these people just gleefully, squeezing themselves through these tight passages and stuff, and they're just having fun. And I'm just kind of like, are you mental?
Yes, they are. I mean,
so now I see rocks and people under, and I'm just kind of like, what are the chances that's going to collapse? Kill them.
What would be fun is with all this new art and everything, and the modern perspective and the sensitivity writers and everything that you've got from WotC. What's going to be really funny is they release all this art and stuff, and when somebody goes back and realizes that obesity is considered a willing deformity in the Book of Wild Darkness that they produced, it's not only that, it's evil. It is an evil willing deformity to be obese.
I mean,
Real quick, serious question, guys. Does anyone even know what Wizards of the Coast is doing next with D&D? Like, what's their next book? Does anyone actually know?
I think they're tanking it so they can sell it.
Yeah, I was about to say, haven't they been doing massive layoffs? So they're probably trying to get rid of the entire crew so they can build a new edition in like 2 or 3 years.
I think it's Books of Dungeons or something is the next things.
Book of Dungeons?
Yeah, Dragon Delves or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I just tuned out. Like, I don't badmouth. I just, the thing about the worst thing you can do to a company is just ignore it. Just take your money and go somewhere else and ignore it. Don't give them any publicity. The mere fact that we're spending time talking about it, and I don't have a problem with it, obviously, but it's like the worst you can do to a company is just turn it off. And I literally have stopped. And it pains me because that's what I grew up with. There was an upstart company in Arizona that was at ASU that wrote its own version of Dungeons and Dragons. And so that wasn't popular in there, and I cannot remember the name of it, but something in Trolls.
Tunnels and Trolls?
There it is.
Ooh.
Tunnels and Trolls. It just kind of went by the wayside. Yeah. But everybody played Dungeons and Dragons. You went to the hobby shop because that's where they sold the stuff then. It wasn't a bookstore, it was a hobby shop. And then eventually we started getting into bookstores. But so this is the game I grew up with, and now it's the game I totally ignore. I just turned it off. I'm not interested in anything they put out because it's all garbage. And then for me, I don't have to make money. I don't want to lose money, but I also don't want to get screwed out of my stuff. And they've just done that so much that with some of their people, I have no interest in giving them anything. But I have no idea what they're doing historically. Somebody told me they were going to try to bring back Boot Hill, but I don't know if that's true or not. And I just said, I just don't care because I would never buy it.
I'd love to see him.
Good.
I only really brought it up because I was just thinking about it. I'm like, typically speaking, they should be marketing like what's the next product coming out, and I've not heard hide nor hair of it. And I'm just like, legitimate question. With
it's
how
like
often
radio silence.
with how often we wind up having to talk about them for topics of the week, etc. It just seems odd to me that it's just nothing that they're not talking about anything coming up, like like an anthology book, Eberron, more players guides, DMs guides, return to a Magic setting. Like that's all stuff coming that I had to go and actively look up. I've not heard anything from them. Not that I was necessarily saying we need to bring it up and show off, but like I will say of the entire list, the only thing that kind of caught my interest was like the last thing, that Lorwyn Shadowmoor source book.
That's some Magic the Gathering stuff, isn't it?
They're very into their card games.
Mhm.
Their card game, their big card game guy actually left, and he went to. I met him at North Texas. Also, he went to a different company now.
Figures.
Was it possibly
Chris,
Ratsburger with the Disney game?
Maybe.
Lacana.
Like I meant,
Perkins?
I'm not a card guy. My kids got into Magic the Gathering, and I'm a Scoutmaster. I was a Scoutmaster for many years, so Magic the Gathering is something we did at night. The boys would play, but I never got into card games. Are just not my genre. So
Understandable.
Go ahead.
I would say, well, it was actually, so actually, speaking of Magic, it was actually just announced this past week that one of the upcoming like new crossovers they're doing is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog, which is going to be insanely popular. Like the Final Fantasy stuff has turned out to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not giving WotC any money anymore.
No.
I sold all my 5th edition stuff, and if I want to run 5th edition, I'm running Tales of the Valiant from Cobalt.
You got to tell me how that is, because I still haven't heard any reports on that.
So
video on it, but
like the one big mechanic it brought to it was luck, which I gotta say I don't mind it as a mechanic. So I guess the idea is if it was either roll nat 1 or you fail a roll, you get a point of luck.
Yeah,
and you can hoard those until you need them, up to a certain point. Like I think if you get more than 5 points of luck, you have to roll dice and your luck resets. And the idea is you could cash those in to give yourself a bonus to a roll. So there is a bit of a risk reward with hoarding more and more.
Well, you can also, one thing I've always, because I actually use the Call of Cthulhu luck mechanic in my 3rd edition games, where you have a luck, and you have a luck attribute essentially, and you can spend it to to improve rolls and that sort of thing. But it's also great for, hey man, I'm going to go ahead and shoot this guy with my bow. It's like, okay, well, you got any arrows on your character sheet? Well, no, but I wouldn't have left without them. It's like, okay, well, you need to roll luck, and you need to find out if you left your quiver sitting at the tavern or not.
That's one of the things. That is one of the things that I like about Fabula Ultima. That's probably one of the best innovations that they brought to gaming is the equipment points. Because what happens is you're always assumed to have like a certain all the gear that you need for an adventure. So like during the course of your adventure, if you say like, well, I would have packed my grappling hook, then all you do is you consult the chart, and if it's got how many points it costs you for a grappling hook, you just deduct those from your gear score, and you have the grappling hook. So it kind of reduces the whole shopping trip thing. So like you don't have to go and buy like 100 iron spikes, holy water, a pick. Now it's kind of like, okay, as long as I have the points, and we encounter a situation, I might reasonably have this piece of equipment on me. I can consult the chart, pay the point for it, and I have that piece of gear.
It's funny that you guys talk about like gathering gear up. One of the things in Port Mirror, and I'm going to bounce it back to me a little bit here. So yes, totally self-serving. But one of the things that I love about funnels and gauntlets is that you literally, it's not like you get to start off with anything. You start off with a rake or whatever you start off. But strategically through Port Mirror, I have staged a whole bunch of stuff. And if you run and just try to get into it with the bad guys right away, good for you. I've had people do that when they play tested. But the people that play it tactically and run around and like gather equipment, it's really fun because when you go from you start out, you're in this shed, and you've got a rope, you've got a lantern, and the town is covered in smoke and ash. You can't really see, so the whole darkness of cover, tactically running around. But that was one of the things is I love to play where you have to you don't start out with a suit of armor and a plate mail and a long sword and a shield and everything else. That's one that kind of draws me to a funnel. Is that if the world went to crap and it sounds like everybody here is pretty much armed, you'd be going to your safe, but or whatever you've got stockpiled. But for most people, it's you'd have to scrounge for what you need. So you might have stockpiles of armor or stockpiles of bullets or stockpiles of guns or whatever. But somebody down the street's going to have a stockpile of food. And that's what I tried to bring to this adventure a little bit, is that you're running around town trying to gather up stuff. So you're we're going to go to the magic shop because we're going to try to get stuff. There's probably a potion of healing in there. And we're going to go to the butcher shop because we need maybe rations. And then we're going to go to the general store because we're going to go to the armory shop. Or there's actually a thieves guild that's disguised as something else, or it's the trading company. So you're going to get there thinking, okay, I'm going to go there, but you're going to end up walking into a thieves guild. So a lot of that stuff is brought on where you have to go get equipment. And I love that type of adventure where you're as a first level character, you should not have a suit of plate.
No.
Nor should you have a 10 item list of stuff. And I think that's where I got turned off with 5e, because it was oh, this is your pre-generated character. You're going to roll your stats, and then you're going to take your equipment for a first level fighter. And so everybody started off with all this stuff. It was well, what's fun in that? I'm not saying you should have a 10-page backstory, but yeah, it's you shouldn't have everything you need right away. And that's kind of why I kind of am drawn to writing. I like the whole scrounging aspect of it. The world's gone to crap, town got sacked. Now go get your stuff. Mm-hmm. And now you're ready to fight. Now go get the people. So I kind of like that. And I also get very frustrated. It's I just pull out my +3 Vorpal sword and I will attack the guy. It's okay, where'd you get that? It's so
I bought it.
I bought it. I love Pathfinder. I love the crunchiness of it. My home game, I run most of the games that unfortunately I don't get to play in a lot of them, but they all run Pathfinder all the time. And it's they want to go to the store. What do they want? It's I'm going to buy this 10th level magic item because, it would be there. It's and that's one of the things that actually drew me to DCC is that magic items are treated kind of special. You're not supposed to walk into a shop and buy, and same with Shadow Dark. So I drew me to both of those systems. They definitely do have their flaws, but I kind of like that they're just minimalist. I'm kind of tired of playing games where you're playing a god. Oh, it's fun to play a god. I was playing in John Watson's Dungeon Dwelling Creatures, and one of the I can't think of the name of the creature, but he takes over other creatures. It's a monster. I'll think of it in a second. But anyway, he takes over a storm giant. So how he's playing the rest of the game as a storm giant. And so somewhere in this weird god realm that we were in, we had to rotate characters. So your mentality would end up bouncing across the table, and now all of a sudden you're an orc. No, now you're a hag. Now you're I can't think of the name, but I wanted that storm giant so bad, and I was please come over. I want to be the storm giant because I want to run through town and just destroy shit and stuff. So it stuff like that I totally down with, but for the most part, as a beginning level thing, we shouldn't have everything you need. That should be part of the adventure, in my opinion. So I mean, if you start at the 10th level adventure, maybe that's different. I don't know.
Well, I just backed your book, so.
Oh, thank you. I
I
appreciate
do
it.
love that you mentioned Temu 3rd edition there. Because you don't really, if you look in the 3rd edition books, it very explicitly outlines that for all these magic items and stuff in the DMG, it says this price is here to help you determine if it's sufficient, if it's reasonable treasure for an adventure of this level. It is not for them to be able to buy it in town. But apparently that's another one of the many, many, many things that they left out when they ripped it off to make Pathfinder.
No, it's it's funny. Like, Jane, you guys know David Beatty?
No.
Who?
Word Frontiers guy. So they call him the Temu Brad Pitt. And as soon as somebody says Temu, it just sticks in my mind. And so because he has his hair now, he's all great and everything else. And I started laughing, and somebody called him the Temu Brad Pitt. And I started cracking up. And so, yeah, when you said Temu, I thought of that. Sorry, my brain skipped a little bit. Anyway, thank you for backing my book. Totally random thought, wholly off topic.
All right. Shanatsky, I know you just came on, man, but I think we're about to wind it down. Sorry.
That's fine.
Matt, hey, I just want to be mindful of your time and everybody else's. I know Grimm's back is probably killing him right now. Yeah. And anyway, thanks for hanging out with us again.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He just won't be able to game for us tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk.
Human organs.
It is 104 here right now, and I'm walking right back out to a baseball field to finish watching my kid's game. He's playing in the USA Baseball National Club Championships. His team is already out, so they're playing a cancellation game, or consolation game, not a cancellation game. So yeah, I'm literally sitting in the air conditioning in my truck, and I'm gonna walk out and melt. So if you see a red spot with a lot of fleshy looking stuff, that's me. There'll probably be an aerial view of me just melting into the concrete. Yeah, someone out here thought at 3:40 in the afternoon we should play baseball.
Oh,
so
love it.
Hot here.
Love it.
Drink lots of water and stay hydrated, man. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with us today. Thanks for showing us your stuff and talking with us about games and things, and we appreciate it. And we will see you Tuesday for Dungeons and Discussions at 9 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. for Tuesday with Geeks. And Grim, are you running Fabula Ultima tomorrow?
Fabula Ultima tomorrow, yes. And Tabletopoulos later tonight.
Yay!
Just remember, Grim, it's my birthday.
Yeah, it's his birthday.
I would like to extend a personal thanks to you, Grim. This is going to be rare, for me to extol the virtues of the person who I called Temu Rob Zombie before.
It's true.
But as you are thus far the only person of British persuasion that I know who has not sat there and cried about it being a whopping 80 degrees over there. So I would like to extend my thanks from the American South, where we just cannot stop rolling our eyes every time we see that.
True.
Well, it's 20 to midnight, and it is 21 degrees and 90% humidity.
What is that in American?
Yeah, tell us what it is on the moon.
Isn't it like 75 degrees?
Yeah, something like that.
It's 97 here in Texas.
69.8 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, 21 Celsius is about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So there you go.
That's not bad.
That's like what I have the office air conditioner set to.
We normally at night we normally have the AC and it's like at 74, 75. So
when I go to get another drink, I'm going to have to swim through the air, though. That's the problem.
Oh, the humidity, yeah.
Yeah.
I get
it's
it.
not like any of us are from southern Louisiana or Alabama or anything.
Oh,
I live in what is termed a semi-arid basin. Yes. So that means it collects humidity down here because we have a creek that runs right through everything, and it's just like, well, it's wonderfully humid. So.
Oh, yeah.
I live in Missouri. You can see the air.
Okay, yeah, you win.
I grew up in Southwest Louisiana, like outside. My backyard was literally swamp.
How's the weather, Ollie? It's hot.
Well, that's okay. At least we all have one advantage over Ironcasters. We can actually drink our water.
Oh. Why do you think I'm drinking the beer?
Exactly. It's safer than the water. He's in Flint, Michigan.
Oh.
So,
water's great, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't bathe in it, but
oh my god!
No, but it's great to strip the paint off the car.
Yeah. I was thinking it's like, great for just about anything else.
Means
That's
it's clean.
Yeah, the last guy on his block who took a shower ended up looking like that dude from RoboCop after he got hit with the waste, the toxic waste.
No, but actually, speaking of that, I guess just this past week, and I was talking about in our little private group chat, Count Dankula had gone down to his absolute mad lads on a local politician, one Eric Mays, who was just this total batshit insane guy. The locals loved him, but I wasn't a fan of him. He was just like the guy would go around and just start mocking people at the council meetings, doing like Nazi salutes just to like belittle them. Like guy would pawn off city laptops to get money so he could go out and party that night, and then go pick them up like the next day.
Nice.
Crazy story.
Fun.
Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna close out with a little something manly, man. I'm sure Matt will appreciate this. So will the rest of us, because we all need a little Charles Bronson in our lives. There you go. Can you imagine slathering that much stuff on you? Ugh.
Mandem.
I
would want to resurrect that brand just because I would want to see certain people's heads detonate the second it hit the
Well, the thing is though, if they were to bring it back, they would get Pedro Pascal to market it.
No! You're right, though.
No. You got it wrong.
Femdom.
Mandum, D-O-M, not man dumb, D-U-M-B.
Random. I don't know that there's an actor in Hollywood who could pull that off anymore. I mean, there's literally nobody in Hollywood, I don't think, who could ever stand up to Charles Bronson when he was in his prime,
Yeah, we'd get stuck with The Rock.
Yeah, because he's in everything, just like Pedro Pascal and Jack Black.
Or John Cena.
John Cena.
Well, it's not a comedy, so it's not going to be John Cena.
Have Tom Hardy hold it and grunt.
That's true. Yeah, Tom Hardy's in everything too, but
I think Tom Hardy could pull off enough manliness to get by.
Mobland is good. Watch it. It's better than Gangs of London.
Yeah, I agree.
Bronson, he's Amazon Basics Bronson.
Which accent does he make up in Mobland?
He mostly grunts, just says, all right, in a Londonish accent. Estuary English, we call it.
So Bronson's... I
don't remember. Okay. Fine. Okay. Look. Just for you.
T-shirt. Close the show.
Yeah, what do you think, Puff? It's a fucking tool. No, it's not. It's a fucking rolling pin. Who are you, Fanny Craddock? What are you gonna do with that? You gonna bake me a cake? You gonna sing me a song, watch me blow out me fucking candles? I come here for a fucking shootout, right? A proper shootout with some proper men. Like Colonel Custer and Geronimo. Have you ever heard of them? No. Because you were too busy in your penny baking fucking fairy cakes, weren't you? Rich, this lot of fucking nonsense to a man. They're fucking nonsense. Get out your fucking way. Go on, get out. Go on, fuck off. Call yourself a fucking gangster. A shootout, right, is a fucking shootout! Like a western. Wankers. Fucking embarrassing. Waste of our time. Fucking waste of our time.
I play Fallout. A rolling pin is a legitimate weapon.
True. At least until it breaks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys had fun. We'll see you tomorrow. Y'all take care. All right, and Matt, don't melt.
I'll try.
All right, take care.
All right.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.